The Stick Man from Papamoa in search for the fairy house. The Stick Man came up from Papamoa. He came to Ellenglaze looking for the fairy house. He asked his cousin, the Tree Man, but the Tree Man just said, "Get off my nose." He asked the Japanese doll, but she didn't. He knew he was in the right place because he could read the sign. He asked the bees, but the bees were too busy to answer. He posed like the crane, but the crane took no notice of him. He was too scared to ask the lion. He asked the masks, but their faces wouldn't move, their lips were still. The dragon didn't even want to know. Neither did the sun worshipper, he was too busy worshipping. The Stick Man asked the birds, but they hadn't seen any fairies. He went and asked Grandad. Grandad knew where the fairies were. He told them to go down to the stream walk and there he would find the fairies. Stick Man walked past the septic tank. He looked under the berry bushes. There were no fairies there. He looked under the nut tree. No fairies there either. He shouted out to the fish in the pond, but their ears were under the water. He checked inside the vases. He even climbed up a tree and asked the birds, but the birds thought he was just a branch. He called across the pond to the fairy on the other side. No answer there. He looked in the old wreck. He looked under the old wreck, but all he could find was some funny old bones. He asked the wise old ninja that lived under the bridge. The ninja said, "Follow the stones." He found one stone. Looking very carefully, he found another stone, and the stones led him to the fairy house. Stick Man knocked on the door, and the fairies were hiding inside. They were so pleased to see Stick Man, they invited him to come for a meal, and they all set up a fairy ring beside the river. They had such a good time chatting and catching up. Stick Man was very tired that night. Good night, Stick Man. Sleep tight.